My LSD breakthrough was lysergic dimensions. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's someone that's someone, and welcome back to today's report. Today's report was sent in by Deranged Walrus. When this happened, 3 years ago, the substances used, LSD and cannabis, at a dose of 100 micrograms, the route administration, orally, gender, male, weight, 55 kilograms, age, 16, height, 6 feet. For his prior experience, LSD, mushrooms, mescaline, salvia, and DXM, and the setting at a friend's house with his parents in the next room over. Alright, so another LSD and cannabis trip. At a standard dose of 100 mics, this turned out to hit hard for this user and his friends. These were LITECOIN tabs, to be specific, and all kinds of trippy visuals, moments, and thoughts are described here, on a much stronger level than your average experience, I'd say. There were shared hallucinations and even telepathic communication. You'll just see, I don't want to spoil it. But I will say, this all really starts happening because they smoke weed. But I'm sure you'll enjoy this, so without further ado, let's dive right into it. This experience occurred around 2 weeks ago, and is the wildest thing I have ever experienced in my life. Before this trip, I didn't frequently use mushrooms, mescaline, DXM, salvia, and LSD. This was my second time using LSD, and I was in a somewhat comfortable environment despite my friend's Christian mom being just a wall away from us, and dosed myself with 100 microgram LSD water. Within 40 minutes, I could feel it come on, and the next 7 hours were a normal and happy acid trip that consisted of cool visuals, lots of laughter, and an all-around good classical LSD experience. As I was coming down, me and the other people I dosed with decided to each have a cone to try and elongate the trip. And to say the least, that's exactly what happened. I have always been sensitive to cannabis to the point of full-blown hallucinations, and it usually comes with a good amount of paranoia. 1 cone is enough to have me on my ass for the day, so as you can probably imagine, crossing weed with LSD is not a good idea for me personally. Cut to me sitting on the bed after just smoking the cone. I instantly knew I was in for a wild ride when a heavy feeling of intense psychedelic stimuli and dread hits me. The room seemed to distort into an oval-like shape with these holes that I perceived to be home to various entities that were observing me. While I could not see them, I could feel their sinister presence, and this came as a shock to me. I looked over to my friends and said, "Yeah, nah, this is fucked up. I'm actually out of it." I repeated this several times while I got stuck in a cycle of switching and falling back into different dimensions of the same room. People's faces had cubes coming in and out of them, and I felt like I was stuck in this really weird place that was both in our dimension but was not. Each dimension of the room that I fell into had something strange going on. I remember specifically that in one of the dimensions, everything was beautifully and perfectly animated in a Pixar fashion. Everything down to my friend's haircut was something you would expect to see in Frozen, which sounds really cool, but wasn't, as I was trapped in this state with a looming feeling of dread penetrating through me. At this point, I was pretty scared and just wanted it to stop, as I was not expecting it to get this strong. But that did not happen. I started to slip out of my body, and I was panning around the room from a different perspective. The table was made out of glowing orbs, and everything looked very strange. I could even observe myself lying on the bed, looking completely out of it. After that, I lost complete contact with reality. Eyes open or closed, I was enveloped in this completely different place, and an extreme and almost overwhelming sense of deja vu enveloped me. I was presented with 2 boxes, each box being 2D and a different color. I remember feeling that my entire life was based around these 2 boxes and that they had a large significance to who I am. I had to loop through them a seemingly infinite amount of times before I could move on to the next set of boxes, which shared the same nostalgia. After hundreds of boxes, I moved on to strange shapes with the same concept. After that was pure emotions / sensations that were correlated to sounds. These sensations weren't of this world and became my essence. I would hear a syllable and be presented with an element from the periodic table, and then feel my soul become it. I was experiencing these sensations to the fullest extent possible, most of the sensations being in a painful manner due to the sheer intensity. I remember seeing what seemed like my soul, a little light flying through all the shapes and sensations that I had gone through, and it seemed like they were the files or puzzle pieces that held together this reality. I then began to float through as what I interpreted as alien technology, with many sophisticated, dark metallic moving parts that I couldn't identify or make sense of. It felt like this technology dimension existed alongside ours. It's just that our senses don't allow for us to perceive it. I can't explain how, but I was observing this not in 2D or 3D, but something completely different and mindfucky. I then opened my eyes, and I was in a room that I did not recognize. The walls had rotating cubes in it, but apart from that, it was normal. I could see my hands, and I remember trying to open my eyes to escape the room, just to realize that they were already open. It was scary how real it all felt. I was walking around and could feel my heartbeat. I looked at my hands, and they looked and felt as real as ever. My memory goes blank, but I remember being back on the bed and everyone being connected to this big, mechanical loop machine by strands of energy. My friends' bodies and my own being were half mechanical and half human. We would all go through these colors, which were built into a big loop machine, and we were communicating telepathically about it. I remember people saying, "Fuck, here we go again, back in the loop," and such. I couldn't escape it, so I just went with it. I couldn't control my hands. They were doing strange robotic movements without me telling them to. The whole machine loop was connected to this mechanical society, and it felt like it was never going to end. It almost felt like this place had our souls trapped in it, and the machine was using our souls to power the weird alien society. I then would be walking around the house, half in this loop, and something bad would happen, so I would rewind time and try again. I found out later, though, that all the bad things did happen, though. Haha. After that, a shit show happened. One of my friends got into the loop along with me and blamed it all on me. He kept saying, "Fuck you," and "I can't believe that you would do this." At one point, he slapped me in the face, but I was too gone to understand what was going on. Of course, the Christian mother came out to see what was going on, and my friend continued to go berserk on her. He hit her and threatened to kill the dog. I got driven home and continued to trip for another 10 hours in a state of panic. I could hear and see police helicopters outside my window. I understood at this point it was a hallucination, but the anxiety and panic remained. Since then, this experience has left me questioning reality, as my friends also recalled the mechanical loop society and communicating telepathically. I don't regret it, but it was definitely the most intense thing I have been through. It felt like 15 hours of salvia. P.S. I love your content and thought that I would submit this, as I find my experience to be very intriguing, as there isn't many LSD trips of this nature. I'm sorry if it's written poorly. It was hard to recall, and most of it I can't remember at all.